Good evening, everybody. Wow, that's very loud, isn't it? Okay, there we go. Well, at least you're definitely going to hear me. I've just put a new battery in it, so I think it's getting overexcited with itself. Bless. Okay. Those of you that don't know me, I'm a youth worker. That's kind of my job. And yeah, Carsten, could you take that down? It's number 11, mate. Cheers. I want to read you from a book on youth work, and it begins by quoting Doctor Who. And it says this. Great. Are there any Doctor Who fans in the house, by the way? This might make you a little teary, just FYI, okay? Because it says this. It says, great men are forged in fire. It is the privilege of lesser men to light the flame. And that's from the Day of the Doctor. Specifically, that was John Hurt's Doctor who is no longer with us. Yes. So that's what he said. Great men are forged in fire. It is the privilege of lesser men to light the flame. And this writer begins by quoting this, and then he says, okay, welcome to the most important part of the book. In fact, he's speaking to other youth leaders. In fact, this may be the most important part of any book you ever read on youth ministry or any ministry. Please read carefully and take in what I'm about to say, because this bit really matters. He says this, I could bore you for the next 3 hours telling you of stories of my kids, as I call them. I'll tell you about their talents, the funny things they say and do, and the way they keep amazing me as they grow and develop. I can talk your ear off without mentioning myself once. Not because I'm trying to impress you with my humility, but because I seriously love to tell everyone about these kids, of whom I am so proud. They're fantastic. I love them all so much, and I want you to know about them. When people ask me if I have kids, I say, yeah, about 100. Without exaggeration, I'd take a bullet for any one of them. Their success is what matters to me, not mine. My ceiling is their floor, and the highest point I can reach is the place I put the pedestal on which they can stand to start their journey. I can honestly say that I want all of them to do things that make me and everything I've done for them seem utterly irrelevant. My entire purpose is their success. The most important journey in my life is the one I enable them to make. I'm just the baggage handler. If these beautiful, wonderful, special children go on to do greater things in God than I ever could, then I'd be happy to disappear quietly, knowing my mission was a success because I lit the flame in which their greatness was born. I'm not the revolution. They are. All I contribute is the spark. And in any fire, the spark is forgotten without a trace. I'm fine with that. How about you? Could you give everything? Could you give till it hurt, even if you knew you'd get no thanks? Could you make your ceiling their floor? Could your greatest wish be that they would surpass you in every way and do things you could only dream of? If and only if the answer to the above is yes, then congratulations. You're worthy to lead them. In any area, a leader is only fit to lead those they wish to surpass them. And that was written by a young and stupid youth leader called me. Yes, that was me. I wrote that. I wrote a book on youth work because someone encouraged me to. Never got published. It's just sitting there. So if anybody wants, I've got it on PDF. I'll give it you for free. You know, there you go. So those wonderful, special, amazing youth that I'm talking about, well, it's you that are in the room right now. They're the ones I was talking about. And I'll tell anybody the same thing because that's the attitude I have towards youth work. If you don't have that attitude, you're not worthy. You are not worthy to lead youth if you don't have that attitude. You either put them first, or get out the business. I've just made Laura cry, haven't I? Right, okay. And here's the thing, right now. Do you know what? Getting into youth work, this was hard. It was hard work, you know, and 13 years, oh, there we go. 13 years later, Chill is still going. In fact, it's about to turn 14. Next month is Chill's 14th birthday. And we've got youth who are younger than that, and it's so depressing. I'm so old. But the thing is, I mean, I got into this job. I had a really nice job back in the day, and it paid nicely, and I was in a very expensive building with a company car and all the trimmings and everything. And my dad decided, again, to start a youth work up in this place. There'd been so many, various degrees of success, and he was really determined to get one up and running. So I got nagged into helping him out one night. Not by my mum. I'm not putting that on my mum. Someone else nagged me into helping out. So I did, just to kind of say I've done it. And I came along, and I met the youth, and I fell in love. I just fell in love with them just there and then. And so I'm spending all my days at work looking up stupid party games instead of doing work, you know, and then my boss walks past and all tabs, spreadsheet. I'm on a spreadsheet, really. She's gone. Right, good. Oh, look, donuts, you know. That's what I do. And it hit me in the end. You're in the wrong job. You're doing what you're paid to do, but that's what you love to do. So I went and I did this job, and it cost a lot. Believe me, it has cost more than I would tell most people. It has cost an awful lot, but I don't regret it for 1 second. Not for 1 second. This is just the greatest thing I've ever done in my life. But now here's the thing. It's brought me into conflict with a lot of people, because not everybody thinks the same way I do. And I mean, anybody who was in the church with me for the first few years will certainly know it was easy to get into conflict with me, because there'd be a huge mess, suspiciously, after the youth club, where, you know, you got mud on the floors and the walls, and you got all kinds of stuff, streamers hanging off and wallpaper peeling off and everything, just a big mess everywhere. And people would come to me and say, John, the youth, it's too much, you're making too much mess, you know, you have to clean up after yourselves. Oh, I had temper issues back in the day. I said back in the day and no one laughed. I'm very happy. Right? And they were like, how dare you? How dare you accuse I was so protective over them. And I'd be like, there's so many departments in this building. Everybody uses this building all through. Now, how do you know it was my youth? It was definitely the youth. It was absolutely the youth. But I wasn't taking it. No, you don't criticize them. I was a horror to deal with, and I know I was. And I'm so glad nobody shouted out, you still are. But honestly, you come up against my youth, if you're going to bring a charge against my youth, you're not going to deal with them, you're going to deal with me. I was so overprotective over them all. And on the whole, I tended to get on well with most people, but sometimes I wouldn't. And one of the things I had, at the start, we didn't have many people, so we got volunteers to help. They came from all over the world to help out. They'd do like 6 months in youth work or a year or something, and they'd learn a lot, and then that would help them in the long term. And I think, that's great. And we'd have all kinds of people, and they all brought baggage, you know? I mean, everybody's bringing their baggage along with them. And when you put a bunch of people, they live together and they work together, they rub up against each other a lot, and all the issues kind of like this, and so there was always drama going on. Oh, the drama. I'm not talking about the teenagers, I'm talking about the youth workers. So much drama all the time. And they brought issues, and I had issues, but you know what? I got on with them all. And we argued, we fell out about this or that, the other, but you know what? At the end of the day, they were all okay with me, except a few. And there were a few, and I just would not be friends with them. I try, but I just couldn't do it. You know why? Because from their point of view, this was a stepping stone to something else. They were in this for the career, and this was just a stop along the way. And that infuriated me. That incensed me. I'd be like, these children are not stepping stones in your career. You cannot treat them like padding for your CV. How dare you use them that way? You concentrate on them right now, and you give them your absolute best, even if you get nothing back, or you're not worthy to do this. We had some interesting conversations. And it's like, they're not here for your career. You're here for their well-being. That's the way it works. If you don't have that attitude, then you offend me. And that's what I was so overprotective with these kids, with everybody. I still am, but I've kind of calmed down a bit. I say a bit. But yeah, this is why I'm really happy that Laura is doing youth work with us at the minute. Because when she said, I want to get into this, it wasn't, I'm looking for a career or whatever. It was, I love these youth. And that's the only reason to do it. If you don't do it for that reason, you offend me, because you're using them. And you better not use my kids. You better not have a go at my kids. You better not harm my kids, because if you do, run. Because I'm coming. And I want to tell you something. There's no point trying to make peace with me if you mistreat one of my kids. And every parent in the room says, yep, true. You mistreat one of my kids, don't bother trying to make peace with me. It ain't going to happen, because you mistreated one of mine. Do not bother trying to give me gifts. It's not going to work. Don't bother trying to give me money. Don't bother trying to sing me songs. Don't praise my holy name. You see where I'm going with this, yeah? Are we catching up? Yeah. See, every parent in the room would say, of course, you don't placate me if you've mistreated my kids. No. If you want to be good with me, you be good to my kids. If you're not going to be good to my kids, don't try to buy my affection. We recognize that parents are like this. Why do we not instantly have the same idea of God? Why do we think that it's okay to mistreat God's children as long as we give him something nice? As long, I have destroyed someone's life. Oh dear, wonderful God, let me give you some money. How's that going to work? It wouldn't work for any decent parent. So I assume we're saying God is a good parent. Well, we should assume that this is the thing. But here's the problem. Even though God's point of view is, look after my kids, who I love, and we'll be just fine. Just like it is with a parent. People build temples. And it's usually this, right? It's usually, this is how I get right with God. I'm going to give him gifts. I'm going to give him money. And if something wrong is happening in my life, I've not given God enough money. I've not sang him enough songs. I've not praised his name enough because apparently he's got an ego issue. He doesn't care how I treat other people as long as I sing nice songs to him. Right? Why do we see God like this? It's stupid. This makes no sense at all. But people build temples. We build temples all the time, and we've been talking about this for weeks. Temples, wherever you go, whatever culture, whatever religion, they're always the same. It's always sacred places full of sacred men guarding the sacred texts, telling everybody what you've got to do to make the gods happy, and a lot of scared people. People build those temples. Jesus built something. Oh, do you know what? You guys on the front, oh, it's superb. Okay, they got it, the rest of you. I got some new people in the room, so you're forgiven. The rest of you, you're dead to me. No, I'm joking. Right, people build temples. Jesus built something brand new, and this is what it was. Number one, recognize that Jesus is God in a bod. So no more guessing what God wants, because he told you. He turned up in front of you and he told you. So recognize that he is God and then start listening to what he says. It takes the guesswork out of it. It's really easy. All right, and then there's a new agreement. Brand new agreement Jesus is paying. Jesus is paying for every bad thing you ever did, every bad thing you ever did. All the laws that you've broken. Don't go trying to give God presents to get yourself back in his good graces. Jesus has paid. Done. And the last words that he spoke on the cross, it is finished. You don't need to go and throw a bit more payment on there as well. Stop trying to pay for a gift that's already been bought, right? So Jesus is God in a bod. There's a new agreement and Jesus is paying. So all you got to do is follow him, learn from him, and love. And he showed you how to love, so follow him. He taught you how to love, so learn from him. This is really easy. This is so simple. No temples required. The only temple is you, because he chooses to live in you. So you're the temple. No more building temples out of stone. So, okay, here we've got this brand new agreement. And this is what's key. The agreement begins here with Jesus has paid, stop trying. As long as you've accepted the agreement, you and God are fine. Stop worrying about it and move on. And that means that the movement is no longer about how do I make myself right with God. That's already done. The movement now is how do I fix things for other people? How do I love other people? How do I make other people right with God? How do I set other people free from the temples they're stuck in, right? So because you've got the agreement right, the movement isn't about you anymore. It doesn't need to be. You don't need to worry about what he wants anymore because he's told you, take the agreement and get on with it. Because the movement is based on this new ethic of love. Now, these days, we've kind of gotten used to this, because after a few thousand years, what Jesus started, it's turned into charities everywhere. All kinds of Help the Homeless and Salvation Army, and it all came from Jesus. So you're used to what it is now. But we've added in a lot of nonsense along the way. So let's just strip it back to what Jesus said. Love people, that's it. And when I've spoken on this before and people have responded with a kind of, well, that's fairly easy then. It's just be nice to people and that's it. No, it's a little bit more to it than that. In fact, I'm going to say that I'm going to give you a warning. There's an engineering fail. We talked about this the other week. You are engineered to go back to the temple model. You'll do it all the time. In fact, even if you think, yeah, I'm done with the temple, I'm in the Jesus model, I guarantee you've still got one foot in the temple. Let me explain what I mean by that, okay? The temple is all about you, even if you don't think it is. So people who go to church, they go to church a lot, okay, you're still probably asking, what must I do? What must I believe? How do I keep God happy with me, right? And now most people tend to have that, and if you don't put God in there, you put the universe or karma or something, because you're designed to ask that question, because you want to be right with something you don't understand. Okay, so either you're directing that question at nobody, or you're directing the question at God. Those people that go to church, I wonder, have you ever felt guilty about missing church? Because if you do, you're stuck in the temple because you're thinking you have to do what's right to make God right with you. Stop trying to make God right with you with your actions. It doesn't work like that. If you're going to church because you think God thinks you should and he'll be unhappy if you don't, you're living in the temple. You're living temple way. You're doing what you think the Almighty wants and you're following all the rules and you're thinking that's what'll make him happy. It won't. If you've accepted the deal, you're fine with God. Stop worrying about it. So obligation is no reason to go to church. Making someone happy, no reason to go to church whatsoever. That's not the Jesus model. The Jesus model is, 1, take the deal, you're sorted. That's it. So get on with 2, which is focus on the you next to you. So there's someone next, I don't mean literally next to you, but you can if you want, but don't just sit there, no, okay. Right, focus on the person that's like you, but they're not quite you, right? So they're just as broken as you. They're just as flawed as you. They've made mess-ups just like you have. And the thing is, it's easy to see it in other people, isn't it? Okay, well, just like God forgave you of everything, why don't you just forgive them of everything? You know, like how God loves you unconditionally? Why don't you just love them unconditionally? How about everything that God's given you, you just give it to someone else? That's not difficult, is it? So let's just do that. Forget your relationship with God this way. Remember, faith expressing itself through love. You express how much you love God by how you love the people about you. Because they're his kids. If you want to be right with daddy, treat his kids well, right? I said daddy. Try not to. Okay, right? So take the deal, you're sorted. Focus on the you next to you and love, remember last week we said, with no loopholes, no exceptions. This includes people you don't like. This includes the times when it's really hard. That's it. There are no, laws have exceptions. Laws have loopholes. If you're trying to live by the laws in the Bible, you're going to find someone who, well, the Greek doesn't say that or whatever. Love has no excuses. And that's why it's so powerful. Perhaps that's why Jesus brought it. So, does it sound easy so far? It's really not. I'm going to give you another warning. You are engineered to not do this. You're engineered to go back to rules and regulations and laws. You're engineered to go... Breaking out of this is going to be difficult. Let me give you a few examples of the differences, okay? So, why should you tell the truth? Anyone? Come on. Right, if you go to Sunday school, I guarantee you've probably been taught this. In fact, there are probably songs that have this in the lyrics. Why should you tell the truth? The Bible says so. Right? I mean, it's easy. That's what people kind of expect of Christians, right? How dare you? The Bible says it. Bash. Right? That's what we do. And so, yes, it does. The Bible really does say that. But if you're doing it because it says so in the Bible, you're missing a far more obvious truth, which is lying hurts people. You needed a book to tell you that? You already know this. You already know this. Didn't Jesus say, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you? If you wouldn't want someone to hurt you by lying to you, don't do it to someone else. You've already got that barometer inside you. You don't need rules and regulations. You don't need to worry about how do I make God happy. No. Just don't hurt people. Easy, right? So forget the fact that it says in the Bible. It does say it, and reading the Bible is great, and we'll get onto that, but no. Lying hurts people. If you love someone, don't lie to them. And here's the thing, Jesus said, love everybody. You know that guy you're thinking of right now who you really don't want to love? Yeah, even him. Even her, the one who did that to you, you got to love her as well. That means you've got to not hurt her. That means you've got to not lie to her. Man, this sucks, doesn't it? This is hard. I mean, this is really, it's simple, but it's so hard. Here's another one. Why be generous? Why would you be generous? Now, here's the thing. Here's an interesting proof that so many people who think they're doing great with their lives, they're actually still living in the temple. So many people think that it's good to be generous because God will reward you. Right? Build up your treasures in heaven. Listen, if you're doing good things just to build up your treasures in heaven so that God will reward you, you're not giving anything. You're just investing. You're basically a spiritual banker. And you know how we all feel about bankers, right? Okay, don't just invest kind efforts to get something back later. You haven't really got it yet. You should be giving even though you get nothing back. You know why? Because being generous helps people. Just help people because you love them. Not because you're going to get something back from it, but it's good to love people. So be generous to people, even the people you don't like. Because if you love people that you don't like, then you're going to have to be generous to them as well. Oh, that's horrible, isn't it? It's hard. This is so hard. I told you, you're not going to want to do it. There's times when you're going to say, I don't want to do that. You're engineered to not want to do this. But imagine if you did. Imagine if you were known as the one who doesn't lie to anyone ever. Even the hard stuff. Can you imagine if that's the reputation you had? Now, I'm not just saying you go and tell everybody, oh, you're ugly. I'm just being honest. Right, there's a thing called tact as well. There's ways to tell people. There's ways to deal with things with people. But very often, have you heard this about, well, you've probably done this. You've lied to spur someone's feelings. You've told a white lie. Here's the thing. Lying hurts people. And you know that lie that you told them to spur their feelings? They're just going to get hurt when they eventually find out the truth, which they will, and then they'll be hurt that you lied to them as well. In the long run, it never works. Imagine if you had the reputation, you're always honest to people, so when people ask you a question, they can trust you. You become the most trusted person just because you love everyone enough to be honest with them. And you're generous not just with your money, but with your time. Someone needs you, you're there for them because you're generous with it. Can you imagine the reputation you'd have? Can you imagine how people would start to treat you? Can you imagine how people would start to respect you? This is just two things. Being loving means no get-out clause, no loopholes. This means you are a much better person to everyone around you. You're really looking after God's children. You and God, going to be just fine. It's easy, isn't it? It's really easy. Why not gossip? Now, I shouldn't have to ask this because I guarantee everyone in this room has been hurt by gossip in some way or shape or form, right? When all your mates, they've all been told something about you and they've all believed it and they've all told each other but no one's told you, and you find out and you feel like dirt and you feel like you haven't got a friend in the world because they all just stabbed you in the back. Have we been there? Of course. So why do we even need to ask why not gossip? Well, the easy answer is it's in the sacred text. It is. It really is in there, but that's not why you should not do it. Don't gossip because it destroys people. Hey, if you love someone, you wouldn't want to destroy them. Is that simple? Is that easy? There's nothing to it. This is so simple. It's hard. It's really hard because someone's going to come and tell you, hey, do you know that? And you're going to, oh, juicy, right? You're going to want to go there. Don't do it because you want to love that person. Isn't that the person who needs someone to stand up for them even though their back's turned? Love everyone. There are no exceptions. It does alter your behavior. See, the temple model is what do the rules say will benefit my relationship with God? Me, 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 me. How does following the laws benefit me? The temple model, living by this law system, only the sacred men know the magic rules that will make God happy with you. It's all about you because you're just trying to make God happy with you. The Jesus model is what does loving people require that I do? And that one question applies to every situation without fail. You don't need to know Greek to know this. You don't need to have studied the Bible to master's degree level to know this. Anyone can do this. The early followers, that had thousands of people coming to follow Jesus, they didn't even have Bibles. They didn't even have them. Well, some of it hadn't even been written yet. It was being written at the time. So the letters being written to them are what we now call the Bible. And even the old laws, the Jews, they didn't even have them. You had to go into a temple just to get near them. And if you were a Gentile, good luck doing that. So these guys didn't have all this wealth of knowledge, but it seems they didn't need it. Because they had the example of Jesus and his commands, which were love others and do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. It's really easy. This is so simple. Why have we complicated it? Why have we added so much to it? This is so easy. You ready for another one? You're not going to like this. Why not pressure your girlfriend? Now, because there's certain people in the room, I'm not going to go into detail in the language on this, but you know what I mean. Why not pressure your girlfriend? Oh, good grief. If you need a book to tell you why not to do this, I mean, sure, the Bible says it a lot. It does. But there's a reason. It's not because God's trying to ruin your fun. It's simple, and you should know this. You're creating a future regret for her. And you can swap the him and the her around in that, because this goes both ways, by the way. But you pressure someone this way, you're basically saying, I'm going to use you for now, Later on, your scars, they don't concern me. Now, very often we don't think about what happens later on after we do something, but in my job, I have to work with youth, and I have to work with them in the hard moments. I have to take the midnight phone call. Because why do teenagers always break up at stupid o'clock in the morning? So when I get the heartbroken phone call, I'm like, what the heck? Right, guys, if you need to break up, do it in the daytime when I've had some sleep, please. Because I've had this, and it's like constant phone calls throughout the night. But I have to deal with youth in all kinds of situations. Nothing hurts like this. Like the regrets that come from this, nothing hurts like it, because these scars last. And I guarantee there's a bunch of girls in the room right now and you're going, yep, these scars last. A moment of I want this is a lifetime of I wish I hadn't done that. And the thing is, guys, you're affecting every relationship she'll have in the future. These scars carry through to the future. If a girl shows a guy that he can't trust girls, then he doesn't trust girls in his future relationships. And the same the other way around. These scars last, and you know what? It doesn't really matter whether this is consensual or not. I'm going to be honest, it doesn't matter at all. If you like it, put a ring on it. If you're not willing to put a ring on it, then this is temporary. It's that simple. Don't give someone an everlasting effect for something temporary. Don't say, I want this for now, and then tell yourself, oh, but it's okay, we're going to stay together. Every couple that ever broke up thought they were going to stay together. So don't give someone permanent scars for something that's temporary for you right now. You don't want to do that to another person. If you love someone, you wouldn't do that to them. So if you're telling me I love this person, well, don't give them future regrets. This is easy. It's hard, and I know it's hard to hear this. I know it is. Believe me, I know. But if you love someone, who on earth would do that to someone that they love? See, love doesn't take any prisoners. It doesn't have any maybes. It doesn't have any gray areas. It's just as simple as this. If you love them, you put them before you. That's it. This is simple, isn't it? But it's not easy, right? This is hard, right? Jesus never said it'd be easy. But the fact is, love is the photo filter for the whole Bible. You can look at the whole Bible through this like Insta filter of love. That's what it's saying. That's what it's talking to you all the time. It's giving you directions for loving people. It's giving you how-tos for loving people. So it's not do this, do that, I'm going to destroy your fun. It's here's how to love people. Here's how to love people when you don't think it is, but it really is. Trust me. That's what this is saying. So if you read the Bible and you're not seeing how to love people, come and talk to me and I'll show you how you're maybe reading it a bit wrong. But that's what it's saying. It's how to love, how to love, how to love, how to love. Top to bottom, how to love, how to love. And so what you don't want to do is, and I'm going to recommend, start reading the Bible. If you don't know where, come and tell me and I'll tell you where to start. It's much easier than you think. But what you don't want to do is after Jesus has said this, and he's reduced it to one verb, one simple verb, don't then complicate it by getting into the minutiae of the rules and the regulations and everything, because you're going to be tempted to do that, because that's how you're engineered. To go back to the law, to go back to the rules, to go back to the rules, and you miss out on love. And people always end up saying this, well, Jesus never said. Oh, do I hear that one a lot? Whenever I see a Christian being interviewed on TV, the interviewer suddenly is a master of theology, and he's like, oh, but Jesus never said. Well, first of all, Christians don't go on telly to tell people how to behave. Don't do that, okay? That's okay. But yeah, you get these people saying, oh, well, Jesus never said this, and then that's when we start looking at, oh, what does the Greek verb used in that sentence mean if you did it? Jesus never said. Oh, well, you can do it because Jesus never said. And they look for specific examples of things that Jesus never said. Listen, Jesus never said don't microwave cats, but I don't think that means that that's a thing for it's okay for you to go and do. Do you know what I mean? I don't think Jesus is in the mood for unlucky fried kitten. You know? So there's lots of things, specific things that Jesus never said. So what? Here's what he did say. All of the law hangs on loving God and loving one another. And so that reduces the whole thing down to a single question. You have one job. One job. What does love require of me? Now then, here's the thing. I'm going to make a suggestion. Ask this question. Really ask this question. Walk down the street asking this question. Not out loud, because you probably get arrested, but just, try getting into the practice of answering this question. This is going to remove every ethical dilemma from your life. Just like that. Whenever you're in a situation you don't know what to do, it'll disappear just like that. This will fix every relationship in your life just like that. It'll boost your reputation among the people around you just like that. This, literally, this one question, it makes you the best person anybody knows. Just like that. But the warning is, reverse engineering is required, because you're going to go back to rules, because that's what we all do. We feel safe looking at the rules. Oh, but John, does that mean, John, is this a sin? John, is that a sin? How close can I get to sinning before I annoy God? You're thinking wrong. Is it loving someone? Is it putting someone before you? What does love require of you in that choice that's before you right now? This is simple, isn't it? It's really easy, but it's really difficult. This may be the most difficult thing you've ever faced in your life, but I guarantee it's also the most powerful. This will transform you like nothing else. This will remove questions from your mind like nothing else. This will make you so confident in doing the right thing like nothing else. It will transform your life, and it will transform the lives of everybody you have dealings with. One question. It's really simple. Now, God answered this question for you, and it cost him his son. So God didn't shy away from a hard answer to this question. Jesus answered this question. It cost him his own life. So he didn't shy away. So when you get to that situation, you think, oh, but it's hard. Jesus knows. He's been there. Oh, but it's inconvenient. He knows. I really don't want to. He knows. He's been there. He identifies. It's okay. He went through with it. And that's why the agreement you have with Jesus is he took the deal. He paid for you. Well, that payment had a cost. But it was worth paying, because he looked at you and he thought, what would love do? And if you think I was being a bit selfless in that piece that I wrote at the beginning, where I literally would take a bullet for any one of you guys, you wouldn't believe. It's nothing compared to what Jesus did for you. It is nothing. But he did. When Jesus asked the question, what does love require that I do? He answered, it was a big ask, and he stood to it anyway. So don't let anything put you off. Don't let inconvenience put you off. Don't let it being difficult put you off. Soldier through and do this, and watch. Watch your destiny unfold right there. Watch your life come together right there. Watch all the questions fall into place with all the answers right there. This is so simple. So what if I give you some homework? Yeah, this is happening. Right, you don't have to write anything down, don't worry. Unless you want to, it's good. But actually ask this question and then answer it. Try this. In the relationships that are going really well, ask this question about that person. In the relationships that are going really badly, definitely ask this question. The places where you don't want to, where you're afraid to go, because you don't know what you know what the answer is going to be, but you don't want to do it, ask it. Go there. I dare you. Go there and ask this question and watch that situation transform. Do it. By the time you leave here today, you'll have an opportunity to ask this question about someone. By the time you go to bed tomorrow night, you'll have had an opportunity to ask this question about someone. Ask, and then answer, and then act it out. Can you imagine if this is really how we lived? If everybody lived this way? Can you imagine if everybody was treating you asking this question? Imagine if every student asked this about their teacher. Imagine if every teacher asked it about their student. Imagine if every boss asked this about all their employees. Imagine if every employee asked this about their boss. Imagine if every wife asked it about their husband, and every husband about their wife. Imagine you ask this about your brother when he really annoys you, right? Imagine you ask this about your band members when they turn up late and they can't be bothered. Ask this question about the people who know you. Imagine if we all did this. Can you imagine the world we live in? No one would be taking advantage of anyone. No one would be hurting anybody deliberately. And if anybody got hurt accidentally, everyone would want to heal them. Can you imagine this world? We can make this. We can do this. It started 2,000 years ago, and it's still going strong. Imagine what we can do. Imagine Prescot, if this is how just 10% of the population were. Well, look around the room. We haven't got 10%, but we've got a few. So why don't we start? Why don't we start by asking this question when it's hard, when it hurts, and sticking to it, and not adding anything to it. Not, I will love you if you agree with my political stance. Not, I will love you if you come to my church. No. How about we just ask the question and we act it out no matter what it means for us? Can you imagine? Well, let's do it. Let's do it. What do you think? What do you think? We have moderate agreement. Come on, what do you think? Let's do it. Yeah. There we go. Right, brand new, thank you. Right. So, right. I want to give you 5 specific areas of your life where this will transform things. But we haven't got time to. So I'm going to wrap this up next week, so make sure you don't miss it. Next week, we're going to wrap up this whole series. We're going to bring it to a close, and I'm going to show you how your day-to-day life can put this into practice and how amazingly different it will be. And wouldn't we all like that? So that's it for now. I'm going to finish there, guys, and there's a few messages going to come up. But I hope you've had a good night tonight, even though I was kind of self-destructing on the keyboards. But that being said, thank you for coming tonight, guys, and once again, thanks for listening.